Community radio for North Herts. This is North Herts Radio.
Welcome to North Herts Radio. I'm joined by Paul Carrack. I'm absolutely thrilled. 30 years ago, do you remember what you were doing in, actually it was July 1990?
Oh, what, The Wall?
Yeah. So
I won that?
Yeah, I was the assistant to Mick Warwood, who was the producer.
Well, small world.
I know it is, absolutely.
And you've got a proper job now.
Yeah, indeed. So thank you for joining us, Paul.
Yeah, well, pleasure. Yeah. Don't get your hopes up too much. I mean, but no, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good. So, can you give us a bit of background to you for people? Because people will go, Paul Carrack, don't know who he is, but they do. They will know some of your stuff. So,
possibly.
Yes.
I've been around quite a bit, and actually, I made an album, and we entitled it "Paul Carrack." I know that name. I know that name, but no, you're quite right. I mean, as far as the general public goes, a lot of them don't know the name Paul Carrack, but a lot more people than that are familiar with some of the things I've been involved with. You know, just various songs. I'm a singer and a jack of all trades on keyboards and guitar and stuff like that. And I've sung a few big old hits with various bands.
Indeed.
My first claim to fame was 1974. I'm not ashamed to admit. A song called "How Long."
That's
the
first
song I ever wrote, and first time I'd sung on a record actually as well.
Really?
But, so that was my foot in the door, and since then it's been up and down and round and all over the place. I went on from that to play sessions with people like Frankie Miller and Roxy Music, and then I had a stint with Squeeze. I replaced Jules Holland on keys, but I sang lead on a song called "Tempted," which was quite a well-known song for Squeeze. And I was part of Mike and the Mechanics for a long time, from the beginning till about 10 years ago. Sang some songs like "The Living Years" and "Over My Shoulder."
Yeah, and did you co-write?
Yeah, I co-wrote "Over My Shoulder," yeah. When I started doing the solo stuff, or concentrating on the solo stuff, I did include, 4 or 5 Mechanic songs, but we've got it down to 2 now. I do "The Living Years" and "Over My Shoulder." And, but, some of the other stuff, the songs people might be... I mean, I always do "How Long." I do "Tempted" in the show. I do a song called "Love Will Keep Us Alive," which I co-wrote with Jim Capaldi and Pete Vale. That was recorded by the Eagles.
Yeah.
Done a couple of songs for the Eagles. That was good. So, yeah, I mean, people are often surprised when they come and they know more of the songs than they were expecting.
Yeah, indeed. And you've had you've had 2 albums out this year, is that right? The 2020 and the Love Songs one, is that right? My
last sort of studio effort, because apparently I've made something like 14 or 15 albums for my own label over the last 20 years, but the last studio album was 2 years ago. That was called "These Days." But we've actually this year we put out a compilation. One was a Love Songs compilation. I've done quite a few ballads. Yeah. I'm a bit of a softie. But, and my good friend Peter Van Hook, who's kind of my manager, co-producer, he's assembled a 5 CD compilation of live stuff from over the last 20 years, which is when we started our own label 20 years ago.
Right.
And recorded loads of gigs since then. And he for his, bless him, he's had the unenviable task of putting together, listening to hundreds and hundreds of gigs. And so we put out this little compilation, these 5 CDs, and
so he's found the best. He's found the best versions of each song, has he? And
well,
different
I hope he.
Different.
I hope he has. Yeah. I mean, I haven't got the patience to go through the stuff like that. But he's meticulous, and he's my biggest fan. So he's managed to do it. I'm hoping that he has put together some good versions, but you know.
So now you're on this 2020 tour, which is 30 dates. You're coming near the end of it, I think, now?
No, we're about halfway.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We've done 15, I think,
right.
So we've got 15 to go, yeah.
Cool. Okay, and you're in Stevenage at the Gordon Craig on the 29th, which is Saturday.
Yep.
Very good. So what sort of band have you got? Who have you got?
Well, it's the same 6-piece band plus me that I've pretty much had together for the last 20 years for doing the solo stuff. I mean, there are no sort of household names. These are all lads from my hometown. I'm originally from Sheffield.
Yeah.
And I still maintain a connection there, although I've lived in Hertfordshire, or I lived around London and then moved out to the suburbs about 30 years ago. So, but anyway, I had this connection with these lads from Sheffield, and they're great band, and it's evolved, you know, over the 20 years to be an excellent unit, you know.
Brilliant.
Because I used to sort of assemble guys from the London scene, you know, that I knew, but and they were all great players. But I think the band, as I say, that's evolved over this last 20 years, a real band feel about it.
Right.
You know? They're really committed lads. You know, they walk to the gig if you ask them, you know, and we've got a lot of respect both ways. It's been great for both sides of it.
Yeah,
you know?
and that sounds like you've got actually a band rather than just gathering together people who know the stuff and are great musicians and everything, but it's never quite the same.
That's correct.
Fantastic.
As you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. And so presumably there are still tickets available for tomorrow night, are there?
I think there's a few, but
right.
It
must be selling. I'm sure it's selling well.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, the whole tour's been good. I mean, but it is the first time we've been in Stevenage, I think. I don't remember being there before. So that'll be interesting. Well,
I hope that people can get along and hear you and hear some of those classics. I mean, Ace, How Long is probably one of the first songs that I can remember, and it becomes an earworm. When we were talking about doing this interview, it was going through my head and I couldn't get it out. It's a great song. Yeah.
Well, it's a simple song. You know, it's got a big old hook. You know, the chorus is a big hook, but it's a very simple song. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me that, you know, it's hung around all this time. But I'd still love doing it. You know, it's all in the same key and everything. I mean, there's a few songs where the keys have come down a little bit, but that's still up there in the old original key.
Excellent.
But you know, it is a good show. I got to, if I say so myself, the band is excellent with great sound and great lights. So we're looking forward to, you know, I'm sure people are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and if anybody wants to get hold of your back catalogue or you know what's available now, they can go to paulcarrack.net. Is that right?
Yeah, paulcarrack.net. There's plenty of information there. I mean, we have a little online store. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope the rest of the tour goes really well. So this is Hilary Robertson saying thank you so much for joining me, Paul. Paul Carrack, and we look forward to a great gig on Saturday night at the Gordon Craig. Thanks so much, Paul. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
This is North Herts Radio.